the Irish are much more genetically diverse than previously believed and have Viking and Norman ancestry, just like the English, according to new research. A comprehensive DNA map of the people of the Emerald Isle has for the first time revealed lasting contributions from British, Scandinavian and French invasions. The findings are significant because they could be used in future studies to identify the genetics underlying various traits and diseases in specific regions. An estimated 80 million people worldwide claim Irish descent, almost half of them Americans who regard it as their main ethnicity. It has long been assumed this means the blood in their veins is Celtic, but geneticists now say the truth is much more complicated. And compared with the rest of Europe, the Irish have higher rates of cystic fibrosis, celiac disease, and galactosemia, a serious metabolic disorder that prevents the breakdown of sugars in dairy, legumes and organ meats. In the 10,000 years since Stone Age cavemen first arrived, the Irish have established distinct cultural regions. But previous studies had identified no clear genetic groups within the population. Now researchers have found 23 distinct Irish genetic clusters, separated by geography by comparing mutations from almost 1,000 Irish genomes with over 6,000 from Britain and mainland Europe. These are most distinct in Western Ireland, but less pronounced in the east, where historical migrations have erased the genetic variations. When the researchers took into account genetic contributions from people with British ancestry, a clear trend arose, showing this input dropping off in populations to the west. They also detected genes from Europe and calculated the timing of the historical migrations of the Norse-Vikings and the Anglo-Normans to Ireland, yielding dates consistent with historical records. Genes mirror geography in Britain and Ireland, co-author Professor Russell McLaughlin told the MailOnline. For example, some Scottish and Northern Irish people swap places, reflecting long-standing exchange of peoples between the two regions. Also, people from Orkney and Wales have retained some sort of ancient genetic identity that sets them apart from the expected patterns. The study paints a new and more complex picture of the genetic landscape of Ireland and demonstrates the signatures that historical migrations have left on the modern Irish genome. The findings also show a distinct genetic structure can exist even within small isolated populations. The Trinity College Dublin team suggests this newly revealed structure should be taken into account in future studies that use the Irish population to identify the genetics underlying various traits and diseases. Geneticist Dr. Ross Byrne, of Trinity College Dublin, said, "This subtle genetic structure within such a small country has implications for medical genetic association studies." As it stands, current corrections for population structure and study designs may not adequately account for this within-country variation, which may potentially lead to false positive results emerging. We feel this will be particularly important in the analysis of rare variants, as these are expected to be less uniformly distributed throughout a country. It is not good enough just to know you are Irish.It could be useful to know your DNA has been influenced by a unique genetic subgroup from one part of Ulster. Considering that something like 20 to 30% of North Americans can claim Irish ancestry, this could have huge repercussions across the world. If you need an organ transplant or skin graft, it could make a difference in how well your body accepts the tissue. The more genetically different you are from the donor, the shorter the life of the transplant. Rejections are lower when the recipient's genome and the donor's have fewer differences. Professor Russell McLaughlin added, "The long and complex history of population dynamics in Ireland has left an indelible mark on the genomes of modern inhabitants of the island." We have shown that, using only genetic data, we can accurately reconstruct elements of this past and demonstrate a striking correlation between geographical provenance and genetic affinity. They collected DNA samples from 196 Irish people whose 8 great-grandparents were born within 31 miles (50 kilometers) of each other in Ireland.